Hi everyone, welcome to automation testing training. In the last class, we studied about the various kinds of locators. I would like to continue this one with a few more examples here, where in which I'm using the same application, which is an Angular JS.org. I'm not going anywhere from this page. So in this particular page, if you scroll down on the top right hand side, you can find this to-do functionality. Okay, on the top right hand side you can find there's a to do functionality. Okay, so what exactly this to do is, so here is a text field and there is an add button. I don't know what this functionality is going to do. So what I'm doing right now means right click on this text field. So I'm performing a right click on the text field, inspect. So here whenever I identified this particular one, if you have a look into this one, okay, if you have a look into the properties of this one, it is having an ng to do, which is a text field, ng model, which is a text field here. Okay, great. So this is simple text field. Fine. Right click on an add button, inspect. So here it is having a class, a primary button, and the value is add. So here there are two different checkboxes: learn Angular JS, which was a strike, and build an Angular JS application. Right click on a first checkbox, inspect. So if you observe here, it is having an ng model to do, and it is displaying an info about it. Okay, it is displaying an info about this ng model. And if you observe this text box input field, above this you have an li ng repeat to do something of to do's. So here we have an ng repeat tag. What does this ng repeat? I don't know what exactly this ng repeat means. Why we are using this ng repeat? Okay, so ng repeat, okay, it is under the first label. Okay, fine. So let me clear this one. Under the ng repeat, there is a first checkbox, and if you minimize this one, there is an another checkbox which is starting with an ng repeat. So both the checkboxes are starting with an ng repeat. What exactly the meaning of ng repeat? In a simple terms, we can consider this one as a loop. So it will increment the values. As of now, in the ng repeat, we have a two values, right? So what I am doing means I am adding Surendra repeat, or just I added a Surendra and I clicked on a add. See, another text field got added, for which another repeat got added. So it means whenever you enter any value here into this particular text field and clicking on this add button automatically will add it to this particular to-do list, which is an ng repeater. So within a single ng repeat, which is a to do in the to-dos list to do, we do have a multiple values inside that. As of now, there are three values. Based on your requirement, we can add a multiple values. But the only thing is ng repeat, this is a to-do list dot to-dos. It is internally having a multiple objects inside that. Okay, so how we are gonna handle these kind of ng repeaters? This is what the most important concept which we need to know, how we are gonna handle this kind of ng repeaters. Let me show you this one with a clear-cut example now. So in order to handle these kinds of repeaters, we use dot all command. Rather than going for a single object, I would like to go for all. I don't know how many values would be there in a ng repeat, which is having a to do in a to do list dot to do. Hence what I did means I would like to go for element dot all, which will get all the objects from that. Okay, it will pull all the objects from that to do by a repeater, and that particular repeater name is, this is the one. So it will pull the above command. Okay, the above command will pull all the values present within this repeater tag. In a simple terms, what we can do means in a WebDriver, we usually go for a web table. If you remember the web table concept, we identified the table. In that table, we identified all the rows. The same way here, this is a similar concept of a repeater. If you identify here, elements dot all is a command which we are using to get all the values which are having with this particular table, or which are having with this repeater property value as to do in the to do list. So this is the one. So I am asking my program to get all the values under this repeater. So it will pull multiple values. We are not sure how many values it will pull. Based on the application, it will pull those many values. Okay, fine. So let me show this one with an example, for which I opened the spec file whatever we have created yesterday in the last session. Now I'm going for file, save as. Instead of this example, repeat spec. I'm creating a new spec with a name as a repeat spec. I don't want to use this send keys command in my current program. Okay, I don't want to use this send keys command in my current program. So I would like to launch the application. As soon as we launch the application, we need to identify. I know that the tag name for this one is ng repeat to do in the to do list tab. So here we have already written one command which is element by dot, which will pull all the objects in that repeater. Element dot all by dot repeater to do in the to do list. So it's gonna retrieve multiple values. So we need to write down, or we need to assign all these values into a variable, right? We need to assign all these values into a variable. I'm defining a variable as a counter here. So how many values are there in this particular repeater? It will pull all those values and it will store in a variable as a counter for now. And I know that there are two values by default in this particular page. So what I am gonna do right now means, okay, so I would like to compare this particular one. So I'm changing this value to do list. The return type of a multiple objects, I'm storing it in a to do list now. So here what I'm gonna do right now means to do list dot, okay, count. I'm gonna get that particular count first of all. Okay, to do list dot count. This method will get total values. I know there are two values, hence it will return output as a 2. So how can we compare here? Okay, this to-do list dot account is returning as a 2. I need to compare this one. So here I'm closing this one. Dot, okay, dot. I would like to consider this one. Okay, I would like to consider this one as a 2. So here dot to equal method. To equal is a method of which we are using to compare the value with the 2, and I am surrounding this one with expect. In order to verify the conditions, we are using expect. So this expect is starting here and this expect is ending here. Okay, this expect is starting here and this expect is ending here. The meaning of this particular line is it will verify the count. First of all, it will get the count from the to-do list and it will check whether these two are equal or not. If it is equal, it will be passed. If it is not equal, then it will return false. Okay, fine. So I have written this particular small script now. Save this file. Okay, my server is still running. Okay, within the command prompt. Okay, within the command prompt, I'm going for conf.js, but here my file name is repeat hyphen spec. Let me modify the conf.js to repeat hyphen spec. Okay, I modified my conf.js to repeat hyphen spec. That's it. Let me cross check the name before executing the script. The name of that particular spec file is repeat dot, okay, repeat dot js. Okay, repeat spec.js. Great. Now let me run my test script and see whether it is executing or not, whether it is returning the values or not. Okay, it should launch a browser. Of course, the browser was launched. Oh, sorry, I terminated the browser. Okay, let me rerun. So here it is stating that in the con.dot file it was no specs are there. It is not recognizing this particular spec. Okay, let me see this. Okay, repeat.js. Okay, I forgot to save this file with a name as a js. Okay, so I forgot to save this file with a name as a js file. Save as. Okay, so here I'm saving this file as one-spec.js. Okay, one-spec.js. I saved that file and I am naming my conf.file as one-spec.js. Okay, I changed my con.file file and now run my test script again. Executing this particular test script, it launched a browser. It is opening the application. Okay, it is opening the application, and it will go to that particular object and it will perform operations, and after some time, if the verification is passed, it will close the browser. So I'm just scrolling down my web page here. Here we have this to do functionality. Let it load the page properly, and in the command prompt while executing, let's see here. Okay, the application is still loading here. It will take some time. Okay, the script application page got loaded in a browser. See, the page got loaded in a browser. Okay, after a few seconds it needs to terminate the browser. Okay, cool. Let me open the log. Okay, terminated the browser. So here it had some issues specifying that. Okay, a Jasmine spec timed out exception, resetting the WebDriver control, Angular homepage, the name was not spec. Asynchronous callback was invoked within the timeout specified by Jasmine. So there is some issue within that particular test script. Okay, fine. So what I am gonna do means, let me look into that one spec script once again. So it has a describe, it has a it, we are terminating that, we are opening that, and we are verifying that. Okay, great. Let me rerun this script once again and see whether it is throwing errors or whether it is executing. Let's wait for 2 to 3 seconds and see whether the script is getting executed or not. Okay, so it started executing this particular script now. So these are the previous errors and it started executing the script in this scenario now. Okay, in the browser, application was launched. Seems like it had an issue in communicating with that browser. Okay, so here, if you observe, one spec and a zero failures. Okay, in this scenario, one spec got executed successfully and there are a zero failures are there. So to cross check, what I am doing means I am changing this value to 8. Okay, I'm changing this value to 8, and let me rerun my program once again. So I'm just wantedly, I changed my value to 8. I have a given an expect. Expect is the one which is used to verify certain conditions. Wantedly, I changed my value to 8 and see whether it is a throwing an error messages or not. Expected value should be true 2 basically, and I have a given in that scenario value as a 8. So somehow my test script got a fail. Let's analyze this one. See here, in the error message, if you clearly observe, expected 2 and which is not equal to the value 8. Excuse me, they have a clearly mentioned that the expected value is a true and you have a mentioned that value as a 8. Where you have a mentioned, even it will show you the detailed error message here. Okay, so it means the expect is working properly. In order to verify the conditions, we are using this expect. Okay, in order to verify the conditions, we are using this particular expect. Fine guys, as of now it retrieved the value and it's gonna be 2. Great. So let's try to enter the value. Okay, I know that particular text field. Okay, see here in this to do, there is a text field. I know that add button. So whenever you added that value manually, that outcome should be 3. So let me take the property for this text field. it is having an ng model. Okay, copy the property, go back to your program. So here what I'm doing means element by dot model, and this is a model value, and I would like to use a send keys command in which I would like to enter Surendra Jagannatham. I have a given my name out over there. And after entering the value into that particular field, even I would like to perform an add button. So right click on that button, inspect. I know that this button is having a class and the value property. I can use a button text here, or else as it is having a class, I can use a CSS also. So element by dot CSS, I'm specifying this one dot click. So this is going to be performing a click operation. I am copying this particular logic and I am placing it here, which is element by dot retriever to do list. I'm storing it in a list one now, and this count should be equal to 3. I'm giving this condition as a 5. This time it should fail. Okay, as the count should be 3. As we added one value here, Surendra, the count got changed to 3. To cross check whether it is retrieving a proper value or not, I have given it as a 5. Okay, cool. Let me clear this console and let me run this program once again. It's gonna launch a browser. Okay, it's gonna launch a browser. Okay, the browser was launched. Once after the application got opened successfully, it will enter a value to. Okay, it will enter a value to. Let me scroll down. Okay, it entered the value, and even the script got a failed. Okay, and it is stating that no element found by CSS button primary. So it is having an issue with this CSS property. Okay, it is having an issue with this CSS property. Let me change this CSS property to something else. Okay, let me change this CSS to something else. As it is having a value as an add, I am adding directly a CSS property like this. So here CSS value is equal to add for that particular object. I have defined this particular one now. See, instead of using a button, I just changed this property, and now I'm re-executing this program once again. Okay, I'm just re-executing this program once again, and let's see what exactly error message it is returning. Let's see, it's getting executed. Seems like it launching a browser. The browser was launched here. The script is getting executed. Okay, the script is getting executed. So here this time it got a fail, and if you observe the error message, expected to be 3 and the equal is equal to 5. This is what we are expecting, right? This is what we are expecting. So let me clear this log and let me rerun this program once again to show you in a browser whether it is entering the value or not. Okay, to show you in the browser whether it is entering the value or not. So let me scroll down. So here it should enter the value. See here, Surendra Jagannatham entered. It should click on an add button, and then it should perform the operation. As I changed that browser manually, okay, it stopped clicking on that particular one. But this is the way how to perform these operations using ng repeater. A detailed example about this ng repeater. But the only thing is here, if you observe, I want to retrieve this to do operation every time. Okay, I want to perform this to do operation every time. Rather than writing this command for multiple times, don't we have any shortcuts? Of course we do have a certain shortcuts which will automatically call and execute that, which comes under the Jasmine framework concept. Okay, we will study in few more minutes about that particular one. Okay, I will show you about that particular example in the next lecture. Okay, that's all I have. We'll see you again in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.